I just am totally opposed to that. Weed, the number of fights I've gotten into, I used to smoke weed every day. I mean, I was like, I know a lot about weed. It makes you passive and stupid. I'm sorry. People get so mad if you say that. Oh, shut up. No, I smoke more weed than you have. It makes you into a loser. Are you joking? Why don't you just face your life? It's so awesome. And
we'll do some Q&A with the audience here in a little bit. Your alcoholism, you called yourself functional alcoholism when you were drinking and partying and whatnot.
Yeah.
So what did you change? What was the light switch that?
Well, what I did was I stopped drinking, which I found super helpful.
What caused you to stop?
I mean, in my case, I was sitting at my desk in my office, smoking a Camel. I'll never forget it, which I also quit, unfortunately. Little short ones, flavored with chocolate, delicious cigarettes. I know no one's allowed to admit that, but they were amazing. And but I was sitting at my desk feeling hungover Sunday morning, having a cigarette, and I just had this voice, which I think was from God, saying, you better quit. My wife was pregnant with our fourth child. She was 10 days from giving birth, and I just had this voice tell me, you're gonna lose everything if you don't stop drinking. And I believed it. You know, who knows why? I mean, I'm just an ordinary person with a slightly above average IQ, not super insightful. Like, I have no idea what that was, but that happened to me, and I followed it, and I did it, and it completely changed my life. And it's hard to talk about sobriety without sounding judgy, or like one of those boorish rehab guys who's always lecturing you on all the steps or whatever. But the truth is, one of the main problems in this country is that everyone's loaded. Everyone's on some kind of drug or drunk. I mean, everyone's on pills. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to judge anybody else, but like, everybody is on drugs. It's crazy. Everyone's on SSRIs or the meth they give you, but they call it Adderall, benzodiazepines. You know, I'm on a flight, I think I'll take some Xanax. What? It's insane. And I just am totally opposed to that. Weed, the number of fights I've gotten into, I used to smoke weed every day. I mean, I was like, I know a lot about weed. It makes you passive and stupid. I'm sorry. People get so mad if you say that. Oh, shut up. No, I smoke more weed than you have. It makes you into a loser. Are you joking? Why don't you just face your life? It's so awesome. And I never say this out loud because people really hate you when you do and feel judged. I'm in no position to judge anybody. I mean, I could blow your mind, actually, if I wanted to. I'm not going to. But I'm saying, like, I know a lot about this subject, so I think I have the authority to say this. It's like, it's such a thrill to be sober. It's not that hard, actually. And if you're not sober, you're never going to achieve the purpose for which you were created. That's just a fact. You're not. And it makes you weak. It's the last thing I'll say. It makes you weak. The more you party, the more you run away, the weaker you get, the more fearful you become. And the more you just face up to stuff. And I'm not even talking about drugs and alcohol. For men, I'm talking about like a grumpy wife. Like, there's nothing scarier than a pissed off wife, like, in the world. And if you run away from that and just go golfing and like, oh, she's crazy, you know, it doesn't get better. Like, man up and just like, tell me what's wrong. Just like sit through the first 3 minutes, and then you find out what's wrong, and it gets better. And you get stronger. She respects you for not golfing and for looking right into her eyes and listening to her complaints for a minute. It makes you stronger. When you run away and when you golf or you get high, or it makes you weak. And it's like a process. It's like, the more you tell the truth, the more sober you are, the more you face things that make you afraid, the stronger you get. It's like life 101, but nobody feels free to say it. And the last thing I'll say, we should just go full Saudi on the drug thing. I mean it, like full freaking Saudi. One of the benefits of traveling a lot is you go to countries where they just don't put up with it. We're like, oh, you're so uncool. Like, you don't allow me to bring a joint to your country? You know, just cut your hands off if you do that. Because we're not. Try to do that in Japan. Actually, try to do that in Japan. You go to Singapore, you live in Singapore, they drug test you at the airport. If you're a Singaporean citizen. And if you fail the drug test, like if you smoke weed, you go to rehab for 6 months. They don't tell anyone where you are. You just disappear. You go to rehab. That's a true fact. I just had dinner 2 nights ago with someone whose friend showed up at the airport in Singapore, flying home, got drug tested, got sent to rehab for 6 months. He was engaged. His fiance left him and married somebody else. Wow. Hilarious. You know, it's a pretty big deterrent to getting wasted, actually, it turns out. Yeah, that's harsh. Okay. But compared to what? Watching left and married somebody else. Wow. Hilarious. You know, it's a pretty big deterrent to getting wasted, actually, it turns out. Yeah, that's harsh. Okay. But compared to what? Watching people die of fentanyl ODs on the sidewalk? Have you been to our cities recently? It's totally cruel and inhumane and disgusting and beneath us as a nation to allow people to OD on drugs on the sidewalk. There's no kindness in that at all. It's cruel. You hate people if you allow that. Would you allow your children to do that? No, you chain them to the freaking radiator till they sobered up because you love them. When you hate people, you let them OD on drugs. And we're letting the whole country do that. And encouraging them to do drugs, sending crack pipes to crack addicts, giving weed to kids. Are you joking? I just lock them up, man. I mean, and I'll be totally blunt. As a former drug user, I'm saying that. And I really mean it from the bottom of my heart. I hope we just get full Saudi on those people, including the policymakers who allowed it, because they've killed so many people. They deserve to be punished in a very severe way.